course, I went to the screen that doesn't have the intro ready on it. So hello and welcome, folks, to Game Over Calgary. Ugh, it's trying to get everything back together after going to that live stream up in Edmonton, Anand. I swear, it's caused all the technological gremlins for both of us today. But
Yeah,
the
looks like my laptop also did something as well, which I couldn't get working. So thank you, Conrad, for stepping up last minute.
oh yeah, no worries. But speaking of stepping up last minute, kind of the story of the Calgary Flames today too, as the Flames take the 2 points in the shootout. Flames winning 3-2. Anand, as I figured I'd enter the show, but you're hosting. I'll let you take the wheel now.
Thank you, Conrad. It's great to be back with you. I think it's been a while. We have done this duo together
It has been.
uh, between you, both of us. Welcome to everybody in the chat. First of all, if you're watching, please hit the like, subscribe, and share as well. Bring your friends as the Flames come back in a massive way, which we thought this game was done and all in the second period, especially when the Colorado Avalanche went up 2-0. Nobody saw the fourth line gonna score two goals within 32 seconds. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about if the playoff opportunity is still alive. And then Conrad, I know you wanted to talk about one special person. We'll talk about all that and more. Thanks for joining us. By the way, Matt C, Christian Merrill, and Alexander Sergievich. If I mispronounced the name, I apologize. Welcome, everybody. We'll answer your questions in chats throughout the show. But Conrad, did you imagine a comeback win tonight, especially after being two down nearly in the end of second period?
No, it's I thought this was going to go the way of the Toronto Blue Jays opening day, where it was just going to get blown out of proportion. But I gotta reach beside me here and shout out this man, Dan Vladar, held the fort together, did exactly what he needed to do to give this team a fighting chance. And like, let's be honest, I've been pretty harsh on Dan Vladar throughout the year. You watch as many episodes as you aren't hosting, and you've probably seen me, Matt DeMille, both go off on how Dan Vladar should have been traded for assets. It should have been moved on at the deadline, but him being there and being a veteran presence against a very difficult team to face down, even if they are a little hurt and under the weather. Dan Vladar did everything he could today to earn his team those 2 points, and huge win. And before we go any further, I do have to make mention of this as well. I was going to make mention in the intro, but totally forgot. To all of our fans, our hosts across the Game Over network, it is Trans Day of Visibility. We see you, we hear you, we believe your story, we support you. So if we have any viewers that have a problem with us saying that, I appreciate you. But there's many other places if you want to continue to believe that there's only two genders and you're only the gender you can be assigned at birth. Thank you for listening. You can listen to the podcast. This might not be the live show for you. Anyways, but yeah, these Flames find a way, and that's kind of been the story of this last 3 weeks for this Flame squad. It's believing in the ability. It's believing that they can come back and that no lead is safe. And I remember a month ago when it was the Flames Pride game, Flames taking on the Avalanche. The Avalanche took the Flames completely out of that game, completely made the Flames abandon their style of play, but the Flames and the fourth line just said, you know what, we aren't giving up on this one. We can still have talent on our roster, even without number 47, Connor Zary. And it's been good. It's been happy to see, and when you're one of these teams that is just on the outside looking in of the playoff scenario, that's the way you're going to have to battle for this last part of the season.
Yeah, 100% Conrad. Nobody saw this coming. We know the fourth line has performed really well, especially at a couple of scenarios. Dan Vladar, kudos to him. I was at one point gonna say goaltending is gonna mask, or it has masked, the struggles of this Flames team. But tonight, especially if he can come back, I'll give credit to Lombard and Adam Klapka who put the two tying goals. We'll talk about the goal scoring summary in just a moment for those not able to watch. Um, yeah, 2
Yeah, these
2. And
Amazon Prime games, there are a few more people who can actually watch the games.
yeah, so we'll talk about that in just a moment. But tying it, and then Igor Sharangovich surprisingly winning it in shootout. I thought at the beginning, why did we choose to go with him? But I think it was the right call, especially when you're gonna miss Justin Kirkland Costco if
Yeah.
you wanted that shootout magic. So Conrad, let's start with just a quick game recap. But before that, shift into hyperdrive hockey and get ready to have some fun with a news source for all the biggest stories in hockey, bringing a unique style of broadcasting and commentary with a Quebecois flavor. Hyperdrive Hockey combines top tier hockey analysis, big stories, pop culture, and a damn fun atmosphere that will drive debate, make you think, and more. Join Max Van Hoot, Daphne Malabau, and Kevin Lemaire every Monday and Thursday for your fill on the hockey world. Watch on the YouTube Game Over Network channel or subscribe to Apple, Spotify, or Amazon and head to our website at thegameovernetwork.com. So, Conrad, I know you and the crew of Game Over Edmonton had fun on Saturday. I was at the game on Saturday. I thought when they lost against the Oilers 3-2, I think it was done. The I thought we put curtains into this flame season, into the dreams of making playoffs. Then we come in today when we were down 2-0 in the second period. I thought it was done again. But then at the end, in the third period, in between the middle, Lomberg opens the scoring for the Flames 2-1 at the okay, I did not know the time, but Viger and Klapka
Is it
on the assist.
10:57?
2:57.
Yeah, and it was Klapka's first assist of the year as well. So shout outs to the 6'8" big man for certainly saying I deserve my call up here, because I know some people on other stations have really been critical of why we're bringing up this 6'8". Some people call him a caveman. I actually think he's just a very passionate player, um, and who has a puckload of skill. Just hasn't really been given a lot of time to show it. So I think this might have been his highest time on ice of the year. I'm going to double check that. Because Klapka, yeah, 12 minutes and 49 seconds. Obviously, you saw him get some time with that first line in the third period as well, which I don't love taking Matt Coronado off the top line, but obviously, coaching staff thought that there was a benefit to putting in the 6'8" net front presence on the line with Huberdeau, and I think it was Morgan Frost most of the time.
Yeah.
So allowing him to see a little bit more playing time. Kevin Rooney, uh, obviously he gets his minutes because he gets extra time shorthanded. But actually, him and Ryan Lomberg tied in time on ice tonight. Obviously, you're expecting to see them down. We've seen them sometimes as low as 5 to 6 minutes a night, especially when the Flames get in penalty trouble. But rocking 9:29, some of the highest they've played this season. And obviously, those are two guys. Kevin Rooney less so known for this, but Ryan Lomberg, I think he could probably play 25 minutes a night if you needed to, just based on the topless, shirtless interviews we've seen him doing. I have to assume his cardio is ready to go at a moment's notice. But yeah, a great rebound performance because honestly, after the Cale Makar goal, my sails were fully empty of wind, especially when you see a veteran like Blake Coleman decide to go get another stick and just leave Cale Makar with 60 feet of space. Like, Blake, you've played this game. You have a Stanley Cup ring. You can't leave the best offensive defenseman probably in the NHL, maybe in history. I think that one would probably open up for a little debate, but probably in the modern NHL, it couldn't overly be argued, especially with the fall off a cliff we've seen Adam Fox have this year. And as a Flames fan, and I'm rooting on Adam Fox's downfall. But you can't leave Cale Makar. I know you've handed off your stick to a defenseman, but like, come on, Colsey, you like throw your body in front of a puck, like throw your skate in front of it. don't just go for a stick. I know it's the first period, it's the short change, it's a
Yeah.
short dash to your bench, but it's Nate McKinnon, Devin Toes. Like, look at the guys that are on the ice surface, please. Oh, but yeah. And then the Logan O'Connor goal, I think just getting outworked and unlucky that the Flames couldn't clear it after Vladar puts it to the sideboards. But yeah, as you said, it's good to see this fourth line kind of getting their flowers. Like we saw on the road trip to New York, they were giving opportunities to start the game as kind of their, you guys have been doing what you need to do. Here's your kind of opportunity. And I wouldn't be shocked to see Huska and crew say, you know what, you guys are going to get the start in Salt Lake tomorrow night. Because that's a very important game against a team that's kind of fallen out of the race, but you need 4 points in this back-to-back, ideally.
Yeah, it would be amazing to get the 4 points. I'm gonna track into a couple of points you just mentioned, Conrad. I think one is the penalty killing that was massive tonight, and I think the Avalanche power play could have gotten dangerous, but I think they killed two massive penalties, which is first of all most important. Secondly, like you said, the fourth line has been rewarded and probably will get rewarded tomorrow. If you Flames fans watch the chase show, the behind the scenes show, it clearly shows you the times that the fourth line has been awarded, and that has been amazing so far. And then yeah, like you said, I thought the Flames were flat-footed, all done by the time Logan Connor and Makar scored, but somehow we know this Flames team gives us heart attacks, it gives us panic attacks, and they got it done somehow. And Yegor Sharagovich in the shootout. Um, yeah, so fantastic performance by the Flames. And like you said, Conrad, they Utah Club, even though they have fallen off the shelf, they're still right in the chase. They have like 80 points. I think Flames got into 83 today, if I'm not
I
mistaken.
do believe you are correct. I'm just going to pull that up. Yes, it is the Flames with 83, according to Google, or they've only still got it listed at 82. But
82. I think that should be the correct 182.
regardless, still
Yeah.
trailing behind both the Wild, who pick up a single point today as they fall in the shootout to Jersey, which, like, you're kind of like one thumb up, yay, the Wild lost, but boo, New Jersey getting more points. So that draft pick keeps getting worse. So kind of a depends on what
And then
side
you
of the team tank you're on there.
and then you have the St. Louis Blues that's going on an unbelievable heater as well. So something to keep an eye on that front
Yeah,
as well.
9-1-0 in their last
Yeah.
10 on a 9-game winning streak.
I saw somewhere that one bobblehead that they have kept in the locker room is putting the success.
Yeah, who do we have to hire to on their cleaning crew just to knock that thing off the shelf? Like, I'm sure that some Murray Edwards money can get forwarded into the right pocket. But we did also see two teams get eliminated between last night and today, if my brain is correct, as the Seattle Kraken and Nashville Predators no longer statistically available to make the playoffs. And I think we do play the Kraken once more, if my brain's completely correct, but I can't remember. That
I'll
takes
check
too
the
much
schedule.
brain power. Yeah. You're going to check our game over schedule?
Yeah. No, we don't see the
No,
Seattle
don't see
anymore.
Seattle anymore.
But one thing I'll tell you, Conrad. So if the Flames lost in regulation today, that's if the Vegas would have clinched playoffs, but they haven't because the Flames didn't win in didn't lose in regulation. So that's one point to make as well. I saw that stat out there, so I had to point that one out as well.
Yeah, it's sometimes having that extra fuel on the fire to play spoiler is what teams need, and who knows what this Flames teams needs other than to stop giving us collective anxiety. But yeah, we do, as you say, we have Utah, and then we have Ducks, Golden Knights, Sharks, Ducks, Wild, Sharks, and then the Golden Knights again. So there are some weaker opponents mixed into this schedule. Obviously, that game against the Wild on the 11th has huge repercussions now. But the fact that we do have 2 games against the Ducks and 1 game against Macklin Celebrini without his car because thanks New York Rangers. I don't know if you saw that last night.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Uh, feel for the kid. But those are good signs for the Flames, and even that uh, Kings rescheduled game on the last game of the NHL season looming large for this Flame squad.
Conrad, I'm gonna put there one morning out there though. I know we have an easy schedule coming up, but
I wouldn't say easy, but a manageable schedule.
yeah, manageable. Especially like the teams like Ducks and Sharks, we need to be careful though because historically, Flames are not to have struggle against the
Against the
easier team.
Ducks specifically,
Yeah, easier teams. So we'll see how that transpires. Hopefully, I don't jinx or say anything too bad.
that's true.
But yeah, we have few games in hand. Now two against the St. Louis in hand. We have one game against the Vancouver Canucks and one game against the Utah Hockey Club, and then two against the Minnesota Wild. So that's how it is. So
So
once again,
let's put this into some perspective though. After tomorrow, because I don't think Vancouver plays tomorrow, we will be level on games played with Vancouver and one game in hand on the Wild and the Blues. Let's say the Flames. Let's say we split the points. We go to overtime with Utah. It's the back-to-back. Obviously, we'll probably see Dustin Wolf. That puts the Flames on 83 points. Just
yeah,
staking on average. The Flames will be 4 points behind the Blues and 5 behind the Wild. One game in hand, a 4-point game coming against the Wild. So still lots to play for your Calgary Flames.
yeah, 100%. We'll see how it all transpires. Um, I'll just quickly go through, see if there are. I know I saw two questions in the chat. Quickly, we'll take a look at that. How do you assess the chances of making the playoffs? We just dived into that. There is a possibility, but again, we'll see. We have Vegas Golden Knights in between. We have the Minnesota Wild. All those games will be important. Next game is at the Utah. That's as early as tomorrow. And then Kristen is not a big fan of the Amazon Prime broadcast. I am a fan though.
Yeah, I was going to tee into that a little bit later, but I think it's more of where the mics are located in Colorado, because they are right on top of the fans. So you get a little bit more of that interference, regardless of what network is broadcasting. If you've ever watched any of the altitude broadcasts, they are absolutely awful. And I think that's just as much the building as it is anything else in Colorado. I don't think it's an Amazon thing. I don't think so. But I have to say, huge shout out to Amazon as well, having the desk be two female voices. I think that's really progressive for the network. Love Andy Perchillo. She does a lot with the CPL and One Soccer, so love to see Andy getting her shine. But huge for allowing some more diverse voices. Obviously, Adnan Verk, one of the voices that has been given a huge shot with Amazon. I love to see the diversity that the Amazon broadcast allows, and shout out to that desk.
Yeah, 100%. All right, Conrad, anything else you want to add for this first period before I segue into your period, your topic? I'll not spoil any surprises.
No, and I'm just looking at the updated odds, updated 2 hours ago by MoneyPuck.com as far as playoff chances go. The Flames have a 14.6% chance, according to MoneyPuck.
That was 2 hours ago, right?
Yeah, that was 2 hours ago prior to the game finishing. So you have to think the
So,
odds will probably go up to around, if I had to guess, I don't know their analytical model fully, but you'd have to think that's around 17%. But we'll have to see. So that's where we're at.
all right, let's head into the second period time. Looking for ways to upstart a media company, employing over 30 young journalists like me, like Conrad, and analysts across Canada. If you have few spare bucks kicking around, you get to head to our Patreon page at the patreon.com/slash the Game Over Network. There you'll find multiple tires featuring different rewards and goodies for helping us grow. There is extra access, exclusive looks behind the scene. Conrad, we did that for Nation show. Discord benefits, merch discounts, opportunities to give us feedback, and you can join us for special live shows where you can interact with hosts like you're doing right now. So keep the chats coming on the YouTube front, and as we launch more ways to improve your experience. And if you're not able to spare a few dollars, don't worry, we have a free tire as well so that you don't miss out. Check out our YouTube channel, subscribe, rate us 5 stars on your favorite podcast, and share our social media platforms as well. We are on Blue Sky, Twitter, LinkedIn, everywhere you can find us. And we are on at patreon.com/slash the Game Over Network for some tantalizing goodies. All right, Conrad, I'm gonna hit the shuttle over to you, and you wanted to talk about one specific player, one topic in particular.
Oh boy. Did we see what Kale Makar can bring to the Colorado Avalanche? And like, I'm not trying to glaze this guy as the youth say these days. Oh god, I feel so old. But like, considering this is a Calgary kid who decided to take the road less traveled, knew he was a little bit of a slower developing player, go through the Alberta Junior Hockey League while Brooks was still part of them, obviously now in the BC, but I digress. Go to college, and then we've kind of seen him as Flames fans the whole journey. Because obviously he made his debut against the Flames in the playoffs and scored in his opening game. And then we play them 3 times a year. But he is a game breaker that the Flames currently do not have. And they're not the only team. Like, if you look at Vancouver, they have Hughes. If you look at Detroit, or New Jersey, rather, they have Hughes, just the other brother. On the back end, the Flames, as much as I love Mackenzie Weegar and Rasmus Anderson, we don't have that kind of player who can completely shift the tone of play with the puck on his stick. Weegs is great. His shot is very, very good. His vision and passing is good as well. But I don't fear that Mackenzie Weegar is going to lead my team on an end-to-end rush every time he touches the puck. And he doesn't shift how goaltenders have to position the way that you do with Cale Makar on the ice. It makes me a little sad he isn't a Calgary Flame because, the Calgary connection, who knows, free agency is not that far away for Cale Makar. But I just want to give him the time to shine because it is truly one of the unique things that the Avalanche have going. Obviously, having the lineup with, or the pairing with Teos is huge for them, but it's just, I'm jealous, I guess, is the best way to phrase it. I wish that Cale Makar was a Calgary Flame, and who knows, let's see I think it's 3 years where he's eligible to enter free agency if he doesn't sign an extension with the Avs. We'll see if he comes home, and that'll be after the Flames draft Gavin McKenna if my Flames fantasy scenario works out. Obviously, Kay is going to hate hearing this when she tunes in tomorrow on the podcast, but I just can't wait to see Cale Makar in a Flames jersey.
Yeah, I want to see him do if possible. Of course, one Flames fan can dream. I think the estimated timeline is 2027. Conrad, from what I've been hearing,
Yeah.
everybody wants him by like 2027. So you're looking at 2 years time now. Um, of
See,
course,
that's after we
one,
draft Gavin McKenna. Like, we draft
yeah,
McKenna at the draft, then we get to free agency, use all of our cap space, sign Cale
and they
Makar.
can kill Makar, and then we'll be all set.
Yeah, Cale Makar and Zane Perek, just let them go. Just put them on the ice and just let them go. Just, hey, we have 2 rovers. We're going back to the 1930s. We have no defensemen on the ice. Just go do your thing, Perek and Makar. And hey, maybe in the future, Zane Perek is that game breaker for us because you've obviously see what he is doing with Saginaw, and he's putting up some pretty ridiculous numbers. As much as I don't enjoy Bobby Orr's politics and his takes very much recently, I very much do like the fact that that's the only comparable for Zane Perek and his offensive production in the OHL. So who
Yes,
knows?
I'm
Maybe that game breaker is coming, but just put them together. Just if one's good, 2 is better, right?
Yeah, 100%. So, in terms of Parek, I think we may be able to see him sooner than Makar, because Parek Saginaw Spirit right now is not doing great in the playoffs. They're down 2 nothing in their playoff series. And of course, again, it's Flames fans out in the social media. In case the playoffs end early, there is a potential time they can bring him into the lineup. So, we could see him before the end of season. I'm not gonna put nail and tooth and coffin and say he's gonna come for sure, but there is a strong chance. But definitely next season, it's either between NHL and the OHL for him, which I don't see him going back to the OHL.
Yeah, I don't see if Saginaw's struggling. I don't see him going back. Obviously, if Saginaw was a unit and he had a chance to bring home a Memorial Cup and develop in that regard, you could see him going back to Sag, but they're kind of falling off.
All right, so that's Kale Bakar. So we hopefully hope to see him in 2 years' time. Like you said,
Or a
loving
game
the
breaker like him. It doesn't necessarily need to be
yeah.
Makar.
I mean, so what I was thinking during today's game when Kale Makar scored and then Logan Connor scored, who both were Calgary, I was thinking into myself, especially when the Flames were 2 down, it was 2-0 Calgary because they're Calgary boys.
Hmm.
And you want to think it of that way, but again,
Can you
we are
imagine if the
that is.
Flames were just like made out of Calgary-born players, like just Kale McCarr, Logan Connor? You'd have Braden Point rather. Like there's some great names that have come out of the city. Jordan Eberle as well. I know he's getting up there and hasn't been great with Seattle this year, but hey, just bring him home. That's all I'm saying.
Imagine, Conrad, if there was something called like a city hockey league, for example, let's say, all
Oh,
the all
that
the
would be
Calgary.
that would be so cool as an alternative to an all-star game. If we're going to insist on playing 3-on-3, why are we breaking it down by divisions? Do 5-minute periods, do it pond hockey style, where you have three players on the ice, the Calgary connection versus, like, do it by hometown, or if you have to break it down by state in the US, do it like an 8 team bracket. Do something fun like that. Like everyone's searching for solutions to the All Star game. Maybe that's the way we need to go.
Yeah, probably. That sounds like a fun idea. But just putting it out there, just a random idea for anybody to think about. Anybody who's listening to
And
this
and,
podcast, let us know your thoughts as well.
and William Nylander gets to play for the Calgary team. I just have to put
Yeah,
that out there.
yeah, sure.
He was
All right,
born here,
anything?
all right.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add for Kale Makar's topic, Conrad?
No, I'm pretty good.
Alright, we have nothing Kale Makar related in the chat as well. So let's head into our third period where we will talk about the missed opportunity games. Why not? Let's talk about a bit. And because we were at that point, at one point in this game, which are the missed opportunity games. Are the playoffs still a possibility? And the games we need to look forward to that we don't want to mess up and we want to have it in our hands. So, but if you're enjoying the show right now, most of you are already. I see like about 6 or 7 of you watching right now. Well, make sure you hit the like button, you click subscribe on the channel, and you make sure you hit the notification bell icon so you're alerted when we go live. And if you're listening to this podcast, give us a 5-star rating and write a positive review. We always appreciate it. And if you like it one notch further, follow us on our social media platforms at the GameOverNetwork.com, on Blue Sky, on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Threads, and even LinkedIn. So follow us. And then you can find me on our social media platforms at CJBoy underscore Anand. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, um, Facebook, you name it. And then Conrad, I believe you're on Blue Sky, you are on LinkedIn.
I'm mostly on Blue Sky. You can find me there at conradkrausert.bsky.social. But I'm considering some other social media sites. To say I know there's Lemonade is the new big one that's being pushed these days, even though I might have to give my social security number to the Chinese government. Who knows?
We'll see. All right. And then you can also find us at the GameOverNetwork.com, our website for our upcoming newsletter. So, Conrad, let's talk about some missed opportunity games. We'll start from our biggest chaser we are chasing right now, and that's the St. Louis Blues. Do you remember that two
Oh,
game stretch when we were separated 2 days apart? Okay, the first loss, okay, 2-1, not bad, but then you lose again a day apart. It's not like a back to back, and you lose in a bigger scale 4-1. I'm gonna put this question out to you. How do you think that's a missed opportunity when it comes to where we are standing right now?
so it's one of those, they call them the baseball traveling away days, where it's not a back to back, but you play in the same city 3 nights, or 2 games in 3 nights. And that was really the first chink in the armor we saw for Dustin Wolf. Obviously, one of the few games he's been uh, in that at that point in the season where he'd been playing on the away days. Uh, and at that time, I didn't think it was such a big deal. However, I was also on Team Tank more than I am right now at that point in time. So looking back at it, knowing that the Flames drop a total of 4 points to St. Louis, and I think St. Louis actually has all 3 games in this series, if I do remember correctly, them only coming to Calgary once earlier on in the season, yet where it was a 4-3 overtime win in Calgary. That's really looking like a glaring point in your schedule where it's like if the Flames do end up missing, that's huge. The other thing that I look at as missed opportunities is the regulation losses to Eastern opponents. Like, if we're going back through the schedule here, there's a really, really bad team in Detroit that we've lost to a couple times. We did get 1 point out of it, and I'm saying that because I know the Denim Man in chat is a big Red Wings fan, so I just have to rub a little salt in that wound.
Oh
Um,
yeah, there was that nasty where we didn't score anything one at the Saddle Dome as well.
yeah,
Uh,
teams like losing to Tampa Bay, that 8-3 defeat early in the season, the overtime back-to-back losses against Boston and Ottawa, those kind of proved to be bigger than we maybe thought initially. The 3-1 loss to Washington at home, or yeah, that's at home.
and then day before yesterday's loss against Edmonton also will stink. Um, Conrad, I was at the game. I was telling him into the pregame show. For at least the most 50 minutes of the top game, the Oilers fans were really frustrated. They were like asking the Oilers fans, "Where are those passes? You're not shooting. You are breaking a place. You're losing it." I thought the Flames had it. 2-0. They were up 2-0 easily. Then 2-1.
Then
Then it
Leon
got tied at
Draisaitl
2-2.
happened.
Yeah.
Like,
Leon
that's the
tries.
thing. Like, look at the Oilers. They have 2 game breakers in Leon and Connor, obviously without Connor currently due to injury. But those are players, like, as I said, the Flames just don't have that guy that can flip the switch. Okay, there could be an argument that Nazem Kadri over the last little bit has been that kind of slot into a guy who changes the flow of the game, but it's not on a regular basis like it is with that tier of player.
And you can also like expect Kadri to show up every game and put every game. He can only do so much.
Mm-hmm.
There are, I mean, if you want to go tooth and nail, there are definitely other players who I want to step up. Okay, I gave Sharangovich credit today and on Saturday coming back from a healthy scratch. He has been putting, I mean, he scored the opening goal and the shootout. I'll give him some credit. There is who Klapka, Lombard today. Like there are some games that you really want to see some players step up, and then when you try to go criticize them by the next podcast or show we do, they somehow end up improving, and then you feel bad to say about them, kind of thing. That's where I am at right now. Um, so yeah, it's gonna be an interesting stretch for sure.
Yeah, and I don't love the fact that you see a little bit of rattling of Dustin Wolf's confidence with the loss to Dallas, that 5-2 defeat, where the Flames dominated play for the whole game. And then again, you see that loss to Edmonton, especially for a younger player. Um, Do I still think the Flames should back up the Brinks truck and sign this 23-year-old young man so that he can't hit free agency? Yes, but
Absolutely.
it's the reality that he is a young goaltender and his confidence can be shaken. So it was good to see maybe a little bit in a change of how you expect to play your goaltenders in a platoon today. Like, because usually the first game you give to your starter to try and bring home the 2 points when your team is the freshest. But going to Dan Vladar, because I think this might be the first time Colorado's seen Vladar this season as well, if I'm just looking back.
You know what I
Or
thought against the Edmonton Oilers? I thought they would have gone Denver, but I was surprised. So funny enough, Conrad, I just randomly. You might have seen pictures on social media. I actually went for morning skate just to stand outside just to see if I can gauge who all players are coming in and kind of thing.
Mhm.
I heard Dustin Wolf over here saying to a fan that he was gonna start. I was like, okay, good for Dustin Wolf. Good to see. I wanted to see him against the Oilers, but especially coming off the Dallas loss, which was kind of unfair. Also, like the Flames was easily tied at 3-3. Then they called back like 2 goals. It was unfair. So I thought, should we have gone to Dan Vladar against Battle of Alberta? Probably. But yeah, it is what it is. We don't decide that. It's the coaching staff. They might have a plan in place. But definitely, like you said, we want to see Dustin Wolf get signed throughout, and
Yeah,
we should
as
keep
we
him.
talk, I don't know if you heard this because I don't know if you listened to the show while you were in Edmonton, but we kind of discussed this with the Edmonton hosts who don't see Dustin Wolf as much, and they were all arguing never sign goalies long term. It's just too much of a risk. You never see goalies of this caliber at the age that Dustin Wolf is. So Dustin Wolf is the anomaly. He is the exception to the rule rather than the rule. Number one, he's 5'10". We all know that's not true, but we'll continue to say it while the NHL posts it on their website. But like, you don't see the high danger stops from from anyone in his age group. He's top five in the league. His 5-on-5 statistics are incredible. Like, I hate how everything in this team seems to always rotate back to Dustin Wolf because there is, well, obviously Dan Vladar started today, but I think that is something that is in the back of the mind of Flames fans constantly.
Yeah, 100%. All right. I think we covered the games that were kind of missed opportunities. Playoffs is still a possibility after the win today, especially if we can battle a strong weather like this.
Need
And
a point in
the
Utah though.
next
Need
couple of games,
at least one out of Utah.
at least a point, 100%. And then you can maybe battle on Dustin Wolf starting, most likely 99.9, unless they give it to Denver. I mean, teams have done back to back, but do you want to know or yes that I'll leave it
I
to the
don't think a
Flames?
back to back with travel is the day you start a goalie twice in a
Fair
row.
enough.
Like, obviously Vancouver did it when they came to town earlier this month with Kevin Lankinen, but that was because they didn't really have an option otherwise. I would expect to see Dustin Wolf tomorrow night.
All right. All right, let's head into the fourth period. Let's get some chats going and then we'll wrap the show up. We'll start all the way from. Okay, before that, Conrad, do you by chance have that merch pictures by chance?
I do, but it won't have my face on it. Just it has the merch just up.
All right, cool. So as you see, this slideshow, fantastic slideshow. Of course, a merch designed by Brady Chalice over from Game Over Winnipeg. Use the QR code on stream now to take a look through our apparel store and help us rebuild sports media in Canada while wrapping your community. Thank you, Conrad, so much once again for stepping in last minute to host. I was planned to host this show, but technical difficulties, of course. And you're good, Conrad. Thank you so much.
All right,
You can
I'll
come
transition
back when
back
you're
to the
ready.
duo. Let me make sure. Yeah, I don't have the intro on. There we go.
Okay. So Matt CCA's Vladar is hot hand at the moment. Of course, he has had now 3 or 4 straight starts wins. He has started in a row. All we need to finally beat the Avs was Lomberg and Klapka to step up. Who saw that coming? Not me, not you, Conrad. That was fantastic. Christian Merrill with the Tada emoji. Alexander Sergeyevich says, "Hey everyone, here we go." Too hard to schedule for the end season. Not really, Alexander, if you believe in the Flames. I think you have a bit of easy schedule, but you have your opinions, you have your stance, of course. I won't
It's
argue
you have a
against that.
couple big 4-point games as well, like that game against Minnesota on the 11th that I mentioned, and your 2 games against Vegas. Obviously, Vegas is the anomaly, and you don't know if they're now that they're locked in the playoffs, how their roster kind of changes if they kind of start resting some guys, especially for that game on the 15th. But yeah, double Anaheim, double San Jose need to get your full 2 points from each of those games.
100%. And how do you assess the chance of making the playoffs? It has increased a little bit tonight, especially after beating the Avs, but we'll see. Like I said, each game now onwards will be check 2 points, check 2 points, check 2 points. I think that's where we
Must
need
win
to go.
games the whole way through.
And then we talked about prime broadcast on the high hill, high altitude locations, including Avalanche.
Well, Altitude
Uh,
Network, because they are the home broadcaster, so they get to determine where these mics and stuff go. I will agree. They're talking. It's more in the mix than anything else. You got to remember, this is Amazon's first year doing hockey. As much as we want them to be top tier, I think you got to give them a chance to build their broadcast. They don't have years and decades of experience like Sportsnet and TSN both have had. So give them a little bit, give them a little bit of grace, let them build this year, and because I think that they have a strong possibility of being the next main broadcaster across Canada.
100%. Alex asking for how about doing little reviews on all the game day matches. Stay tuned for that. We'll have game over segment hopefully again soon. We were just kind of sidetracking that, making it a little better. I think the Flames expect Kadri to be that kind of player for them, but it hasn't panned out. I mean, recently as of late, Kadri has shown up.
And throughout the
Yes,
seasons, we've seen it from Huberdeau, but it's just not the everyday thing you can 100% depend on every single for 82 games a season plus playoffs.
and then finally, Denim Man says they must have amnesia, the wolf is him. So there we go. That's the chat line. All right, looking at the game next, we are back to borrow. Conrad, that's you against the Utah Hockey Club. Another fantastic 2 points we need. Hopefully, we strive something for something like this. Do something out of the extraordinary because we really need it, especially if you're on team playoffs. But if you're on team tag and still want that one high pick, you can imagine whatever you would like. But I think it's a little bit too late also now in the season to think about team tag as well. So,
I would
Conrad,
agree.
any final words or anything you want to close it out, or otherwise I'm happy to close it out.
I just got one little statement. It's good for these Flames to build and face one of these top tier teams in the NHL and win with a hard fought effort. But there are still some glaring holes in the weakness and some glaring holes in the NHL and their visuals because they on their recap graphic they have just pasted the Avalanche logo over Anaheim's. But regardless, there are still some warts in the Flames game. The Flames need to get better in the face-off dot. I've said it all season. Can't win games, especially against these teams higher in the standings when they're winning 42% of the face-offs. Good job by the Flames staying out of the penalty box. We have to hope that continues to tomorrow,
Oh
even though
yeah,
there
that
will
was
be.
1 point by Christian Merrill. I forgot that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Christian Merrill did say that. I have to hope that the legs continue. You can't always win games by out hitting your opponent 47-22. And we need to manage the giveaways tomorrow. I know we'll have some tired legs, and I don't think we'll see a lot of changes because I think is Hunt still with the team.
Hunt is still with the team.
So that's
Um,
maybe the one name you could see coming in, but you
who
don't
do
want to
I
shake up.
want out though?
You don't want to shake up your fourth line, so he won't come in on the fourth line.
Hmm.
Sharangovich scores the winner in over or in the shootout, so you don't want to bring him out because he's kind of been the name that's been cycling in and out. So I don't even know if you'll see any lineup changes there. You may see
Okay,
you
you
may
know what?
see
I have
Braden
one player.
Pahal return.
He was there tonight, Conrad.
Apparently, I wasn't watching. Okay, in that case, you might see Pahal exit and Miramanov come back in.
That's a possibility. I might also wonder. Pospisil has taken a couple maintenance days recently. I wonder if Pospisil might be out and then they give Hunt a chance,
I
but we'll
don't think
see.
with his performance, with his assist and a goal, he's the name you pull out. You know what? I think there is going to be a lot of pushback against this name coming out of the lineup, but I think you might need to see Blake Coleman go have a cup of popcorn. As had the mental
Possibly.
blunder, and hey, we need the Texas Tiger healthy for the rest of the playoff drive. So maybe that's the change we see.
But less likely, we'll see.
I don't think we change anything. That
Okay,
maybe on the back end, but
sure.
I think that's good for the show, Anand.
All right. Once again, thank you everybody for tuning in tonight. On behalf of Conrad Krausert and myself, I'm Anand Unnithan. Thanks for watching. You will be able to catch this later on YouTube Recap and on our podcast platforms. Conrad, once again, thank you so much for stepping in last minute. All the best for your show tomorrow against the Utah Hockey Club. We look forward to that exciting one. I'll be watching anyway. And then I'll be back on your feet on Saturday against the Golden Knights, another big one. Until then, have a great rest of your week. Enjoy the game. And yeah, let's see where this great season ends up. Thanks for watching.